Hello, and welcome to Casual Shenanigans Gaming, a podcast all about DayZ, no more Battlefield, because Battlefield sucks. It's also about Arma, and all the other stuff we want to talk about.
And all of Joel's crap.
And I am one of your hosts, JERMgaming, and tonight we have a much more stripped-down podcast that should go a lot smoother than last week. I am joined by my co-host, Dave.
Hey folks, I am Dave, also known as the not-so-evil Evil Viking 13 and stuff.
And we should be joined by Joel at some point once he's done rolling around in all of his Kickstarter money. And we'll give you more...
Scrooge McDuck.
We'll give you more information, or we'll let him tell you about that when he gets in.
Yeah, he's pumped.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
So we're going to start with the news, as we always do. Okay.
Except when we don't.
Well, yeah, we most of the time. So CES just happened, or is happening this week. I'm not sure if it's over, but like while you're listening to this live, it'll probably be over by the time you hear the recording.
Yeah, I think so.
But CES is the consumer electronics show, and it's where a lot of hardware manufacturers roll out all their cool new things for the new year. And it was this week, and there's been a lot of really cool stuff that's been announced so far. So hold on, I'm bringing up my list here. Okay, so this one's kind of dumb. Velocity Micro. Oh, hey Joel.
Hey guys.
Surprise,
What's up?
Joel.
Are you recording?
I am.
Cool. Okay, we had just started.
Drill.
I'm about to start the news. So, Velocity Micro makes pretty nice custom built PCs, but they're going in a weird direction here. They're rolling out what they're calling small block desktops. Small block, like referring to a small block engine from muscle cars. They say they're built around the Mini ITX platform and intended to conjure up images of compact, envy-inducing V8 engines of classic muscle cars.
Cringe.
Yeah, so that's really all we know about that. But don't worry.
Go ahead.
What? Well, our favorite official boutique PC builder of the podcast, CyberPower PC, has announced a new desktop. Would you like to guess on some possible names?
Oh no. Titan Mega Extreme Edition HD 4K.
Nope, that's not it.
To the max.
There's so many bad names. I came up with. Stop it, my head! Ah!
Okay, I'll just tell you. It's called the Fang Battle Box.
What?
Oh, what? No way.
Yep.
I say this every time, but are you serious?
I'm throwing this in chat. It's got a handle like a suitcase. It's an actual PC in a box, like a suitcase that you can carry around with you.
Oh, gross.
Oh, I love them. Don't ever change, CyberPower.
How much does that thing weigh? I wonder. Like, that's like a weapon.
They're not going into a lot of details. Hey, Ultra Grunt, welcome to the podcast.
Okay, actually, I kind of like that. the design, horrible. Okay. But now that I edit a lot, and sometimes I want to take my project with me, like to friends' houses to like work on it.
Well,
and
no,
edit
see,
together
they make
stuff.
computers with screens that fold down on them called
does it have
laptops. That's just a desktop. You still have to bring everything else with you.
Well, it'd be kind of cool if you could buy it if you were doing a lot of like, I don't know, on-site where you build a couple of those and they can easily move around, but yeah, laptops.
But again, for the price, why don't you just get a nice laptop? You can swap out a lot of the parts in that, so I guess that's something.
Yeah.
Design-wise, I do like the concept of a portable suitcase PC. A few companies have done like, the cube, like LAN gaming PCs and stuff like that. But why do they always look like these gaudy LED-ridden?
Because they think that's what people want.
Dude, that's what PC players want. Realistically,
no,
that is
really
what they
isn't.
want. Yes,
Really
you
isn't.
guys are amongst the minority, I think.
No, dude.
No. See, Joel, listen. Wait. I got this first.
You got this.
First.
Tag in.
All right. High five. Let's go. All right. I got this first. Every PC gamer is true, Joel. Like their first PC, everyone blings it out the first time.
Yep.
Like these LED, like my fans, they gotta have LEDs in the fans.
I had 8 fans, all blue LEDs.
You gotta go to like the custom sites and get like the strips of lights and all. Everyone does it for the first time.
Oh, I know, and so that's why it's the first time newbies.
Then 8 months in, you're like, I've made a huge mistake. And then after that, like you go, like mine is brushed aluminum and brushed steel, and I love it. Imagine this suitcase PC with like brushed aluminum and like the black plastic around the edges, like, classic.
Hey, okay, Dave, can you turn your camera down just a little bit? Oh, I can't stand it. The director in me is like, just tilt it a little bit.
He's following the rule of thirds, Joel. He's in the bottom third.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like this, just like this the whole time. Hey guys, like just there, just evenly frame it, perfect.
Are you enjoying my wall hangings, Joel?
I am.
Look, art.
Now, see, Joel, notice the director and me. I have carefully framed the image so that you get just a bit of the top of my head with my antenna poking up from my A50s.
The margins on those pictures aren't even.
That was how I was required to frame them for class. It's
required. All right, sure, yeah, whatever.
Sorry, no.
The professor made me do a bad job.
2/3 framing. 2/3 framing.
That's a thing.
Hey, high five. Yeah.
I got great grades on all these photos.
Wait. What's 2/3 framing? This sounds like a really lazy excuse that someone dreamed up at one point.
Instead of centering the photos on the what's the board called? The
mat board?
The mat board, yes, thank you.
Uh-huh.
You had 1/3 of the space of whatever it was on the top and then 2/3 in the bottom. And actually, it was much harder to measure and cut that compared to just centering.
Why though? Because it just looks like you do a bad job. Like it looks like someone just eyeballed it. It was like, yeah, they'll do it.
Well, if you look, they're all the same. They're all even across.
That's true. I just don't understand.
And it's hard to tell
That'll do it.
It's also hard to tell on my crappy camera because they're black and white photos on black mat board, so you're not seeing like the straight edge that you can't hear.
I'm sure the overall effect when it's not in super compressed standard definition, I'm sure it's better. But
I just realized that I motioned with my hands to describe all of that, and all you can see is the top of my head.
You can go ahead and bring that camera back down if you want to. That's better. Anyway, moving on.
Hey, now you can see my bucket of empty brass behind my cleaning table.
We can just stare at Joel's art on the wall. I call them blue and red. Okay, so Gigabyte. They are pretty cringy in a lot of things. They have their Aorus line, which I don't hear. You guys, let me read some of the brand story of Aorus. They have their own website. This is Gigabyte's gaming stuff. Inherited the legacy of an old breed of board games, we set on the journey. Led and driven by the gaming nature in our blood, we made our way here. As told by our great ancestors, victory for generations fails to those who are watched over by Horus. This isn't even grammatically correct. The bravery and wisdom inherited by pharaohs for generations now revives with Aorus. Do I need to keep reading?
I think I just like cringed inside of myself. Like I folded down inside of myself briefly.
So anyway,
there.
That's Gigabyte's gaming stuff. But they've come out with their, I believe it's their first gaming laptop. It's called the X7. So kudos on not a terrible name. What's cool about it, it's very, very thin. It's 0.9 inches thick, which isn't like ultrabook thin, but it's really close.
Yeah.
And it has two GTX 765M GPUs. It has actual SLI.
Nice.
They say
That's
it's
not
the
bad.
thinnest and lightest SLI laptop in the world. It's 0.9 inches thick and 6.39 pounds. Now, 6.5 pounds isn't super light. But they say it's a third of the height and 2/3 of the weight of any top-tier gaming laptop that has a single GTX 780M. And the implication is that the two 765Ms in SLI are much more powerful than a single 780. Full HD 17-inch display, 32 gigs of memory, up to an Intel 4700 processor. You can get SSDs, everything else. So anyway, price range will be $2,100 to $2,800.
Wow. Huh. That's not too bad.
So Oculus, creators of the Oculus Rift, they have announced the Crystal Cove prototype, which has positional tracking.
That thing looks amazing.
Has OLED. So this would combine like track IR with with the Oculus Rift, which could be absolutely amazing. But it's still in a prototype, just like the regular Oculus Rift, which isn't technically released yet. So, don't get super excited about it. But it's possible that could be something really cool when and if Oculus Rift ever actually comes to stores. Okay. And then we have PlayStation Now. Joel, are you excited about PlayStation Now?
I am. Yeah, I am. Really, because
PlayStation Now
that means I can play Fallout 3 on the Vita.
Well, PlayStation Now is the result of Sony buying Gaikai, which is a game streaming service they bought a couple years ago, and people have been speculating they were going to do some streaming stuff, and this is what they've done. They did away with backwards compatibility of any kind with the PlayStation 4, and now you'll just be able to stream PS3, PS2, PS1, Vita, PSP games. They weren't super clear, but just like a lot of back catalog stuff you're going to be able to stream through PlayStation Now. And not only can you stream it to Vita and PlayStation 4, but you'll also be able to stream it, they said, to laptops, tablets, smartphones, stuff like that. You'll be able to play actual PlayStation games on. You will need a proprietary controller, but you won't be able to use a touchscreen. You have to use the controller they've designed for, which I'm totally fine with. I don't know about you guys, but I am curious to see if it works well, because did you guys ever try OnLive?
I tried it once. It was terrible. But
Same
I did
here.
try it at my school, and the Wi-Fi there is not very fast, so I don't think I got a very good taste of it.
I think the same here. I tried it when I had DSL, and it didn't work that well. The latency and stuff was just pretty crappy. So maybe internet infrastructure has gotten good enough that it's actually something they can do now. They say you will need a 5 megabit connection. So we'll see.
What does that mean in megabytes? Because I always get confused with that. Because
the rough way to keep track of it is there's 8 bits in a byte. So let's say you have an 8 megabit connection. That's 1 megabyte per second. And if you're wondering why don't they just measure it in megabytes, it's something fancy to do with throughput, and they measure them differently, but that's pretty much what it works out to. So if
I
you
can
have
download it like
40,
2.2 megabytes a second.
then you have like 16 to 20 megabit internet.
Yay, I can do it.
Yeah, it's not bad. So, I can download it like 16 or 17 megabytes per second. I'm just saying. But anyway,
Y'all rich in your trailer with your fast internet, just thinking you're all better than all of us.
I can take my house anywhere I want. Well, yeah, I have no
Everybody's
water.
got no water but fast internet.
Yeah. So anyway, that's PlayStation Now. And then we have 4K televisions and monitors. So I got really excited because Dell announced a 4K monitor for $700. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. Well, it's not as awesome as I thought it was going to be, because it's at 4K, it's only 30 hertz. And to go to 60 hertz, you have to go down to 1080p. So
What?
for gaming, it is a expensive 1080p display.
That's dumb.
Oh, man.
It's a cheaper panel. What it probably is, a lot of new 4K displays are actually taking 2 screens and running them side by side in one container. So like Windows almost sees them as 2 screens that you're stretching across. That's what some of the cheaper panels have done. I wouldn't have thought Dell was doing that. We don't know for sure, but it seems like that might be the case. But Asus, good news. Asus has released or unveiled their 28-inch 4K gaming monitor for $800, only $100 more. It's the next cheapest. It is, let me see. It's going to be 60 hertz, 4K. It is a TN panel, not an IPS, but it's a really good TN panel. 1 millisecond response time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I am really, really thinking about getting one of these. Not for gaming necessarily, although that'll be a nice side benefit, but I would really have to knock my GPU horsepower up some to make that happen. But I am more excited for work, for layout work, for crispness of text, like small text on the screen, for photo editing, video editing, stuff like that.
Photos are going to look amazing.
Well, I mean, what do you guys think?
Is it supposed to be kind of like a retina display, basically? Or that's like it's not just a lot of pixels, it's a lot of condensed pixels.
It's a lot of density. A 28-inch 4K display will be around 157 PPI, points per inch. That's compared to like my 23-inch 1080p display is something like 105. If that doesn't sound like that big of a difference, especially considering like my iPhone has 320 something PPI, but you sit a lot farther away from a monitor. Yeah. So the distance you sit from a monitor compared to like a smartphone, yeah, it should be pretty much Retina display.
Yeah.
Even on large TVs, they say 4K looks so good. Like it's at any distance you would sit from a 50-inch TV, it's pretty much a Retina display. So
now,
what would? Go ahead.
A friend of mine was going to get a Retina enabled, I think, MacBook Pro, and I advised him against doing that. And so, and my reasons were, I don't, websites and a lot of programs are not up to par yet for that kind of resolution, at least for that kind of clarity, where a lot of websites look really bad. And the one big thing for him is I would love Retina, but once you go there, like you're never going back. And I don't think, especially games or like some of the programs you have, it's just gonna have a hard time slogging through it. So whatever you're running like 4 times is deep as just a regular program on a standard monitor. And so when he's doing design with us, all the stuff that we send him is going to look super tiny on his compared to ours. So it's always going to look off. And since he's going to always be working with programs with different designs that we send him, he's like, nah, it's not worth it right now. Not until it becomes more of a standard, at least for Retina. So I feel like that same way for 4K.
My wife's MacBook Pro. Well, there's a little bit of a difference, and I'll explain it. My wife's MacBook Pro is a Retina display. And when she first got it set up, Photoshop and a bunch of other programs looked horrible. The text was super fuzzy and messed up and stuff until we downloaded some updates for the actual Retina display. And it's a 13-inch display, 2560 by 1440, I think. And it looks gorgeous, except for like when some of the UI doesn't match up. But the difference between that and 4K is exactly 4 times 1080p. So the scaling actually works really easily because you can just easily scale it to a 1080p panel and everything looks fine. When you're scaling to a Retina display, it's not even double. Forget 4 times, it's not even double 1080p. It's like 1.4 or 1.5 times 1080p. So the scaling gets weird. That's why it looks bad. Now the tininess of the display, that's just up to you to change your UI settings to, however you see fit. But that's the problem you would have, with like a Retina display that you wouldn't have with 4K. Supposedly, people who have them and use those monitors already say that it looks great, and that's not really a problem. So it's the type of thing you are taking a little bit of a chance that one of your favorite programs might not work well with it or something. But I mean, everything is trending towards 4K. So if that is an issue, it shouldn't be an issue for long. But what would it take for you guys? Like, are you interested in moving to 4K, or is that just a long ways off?
It would be a dark path for me, I think, because me, even at 1080p, like I have to have ultra everything for everything that I do.
And now you have ultra twice, don't you? With Battlefield, you have ultra like almost twice.
Ultra about 130%. Yeah, I'm running the rescaling in Battlefield 4 where it actually renders the frame at 130% of your resolution and then like rescales it frame by frame, which makes the game look so sharp.
You would not be able to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. It would look great for photos, but everything that I do is 1080p right now, so I'm pretty happy with my IPS still.
I'm very happy with mine. I just, like, I've been kicking around, I keep asking you guys, like, what do you think is a good upgrade? Like, I feel like I just don't know. My computer's great. Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Jeremiah, I keep telling you, 762 by 39 is calling your name. You need to own an AK.
You do. I don't own an AK. I don't think I'd even get an AK. I think I'm leaning pretty heavily towards an SKS. Well, I love you too, user pick for 6.
If you're a cheap peasant whore, then yes, you could buy an SKS.
Okay. When we're playing DayZ, you are one of those cheap peasant whores. Don't act like a Mosin's a whole lot different. You're all like, guys, I can't shoot anything. I only have 45 rounds, and I've never shot one at another person. What if I run out? And meanwhile, I'm able to hit Joel from like 200 yards away while he's running with one bullet from an AR.
In the buttocks.
Oh, no, that he was standing still for the anus shot. No context.
Don't need
Jeremiah's aim.
All right,
impeccable.
Joel. What about now, Joel? You are someone you definitely don't care as much about the highest settings or the highest resolutions and stuff. You're more about the art design and the fluidity of the frame rate and the experience. So, what do you think about 4K?
Like, honestly, I would love to have it if I think I could have a system that could really handle it. But for me, it's frustrating. Like, okay, I want to play games just at whatever native resolution my screen is at. That's what I like playing at.
Right.
And VSync. It's got to be on. I don't care what graphics level it is, as long as the V6's on, or it's frame. I hate that scanny thing, whatever.
You hate screen tearing.
Yeah, that. But I would love the size and to work on it. But for me now, like even for my film I'm working on, it would almost depress me putting it on a 4K screen because it'd be bigger and make it not look as good. But
well,
I think I'll probably move to 4K once I start.
No, keep going. I interrupted.
Sorry. I think my internet's lagging a little bit behind you guys'.
Yeah, I think it is.
I'll definitely upgrade once the prices go down a little bit and cameras start being meaningful in 4K for consumer. Like
right.
What was it? Sony came out with a 4K camera. Woo! Like
Canon has their 1DC.
I mean, it's such a waste. It's such a waste. Like, yeah, you're getting a 4K on a tiny little lens. I mean, it's not better than an iPhone. Yeah,
there's
smartphones.
That, isn't the Galaxy Note 3 can shoot 4K video already?
What a stupid thing.
It's so stupid.
So
I had a friend I was arguing about this with the other day because he's like, he would not take his smartphone off of 1080p video recording. He would only record home videos on 1080p, and I was trying to explain to him, like, this looks like absolute garbage. The sensor is tiny, the lens is tiny. It doesn't matter how many pixels you have on it.
All it is going to do is just make it bigger.
So noisy.
Yeah, so I don't, 4K is probably, it's, thanks for that link to that gun, Dave.
It's just for you, Jeremiah.
Yeah, 4K is going to become an annoying buzzword, I think, because it's so easy to say. It's such a short word that as soon as it hits mainstream, there's going to be 4K everything. And just like with high definition, people aren't going to be able to appreciate it. People will be watching like 10 megabit per second crappy internet streams of 4K, being like, "Oh, this is the future."
I think for a computer screen
resolution. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say for a computer screen, I don't really care that much about 4K right now. But for an HD TV, I would love to have that, at least maybe in a year or two.
That you'd be interested. Vizio has announced their 4K TVs. The 50-inch is going to be $1,000. There's like a 65-inch. It's like $1,500. I think there's a 40-something inch for a little bit less. So we don't have a TV right now. We're using an old computer monitor as a TV. So once we move into our new place later this year, we're going to get another TV. So instead of spending like $700 on a 50-inch LED 1080p, why don't I just spend $1,000 to get 4K? Like there won't be a ton of 4K content yet, but I can probably stream Netflix in 4K on a home theater PC, which I will be building. Yeah,
that's true. Although I'm probably gonna wait a little bit longer because they're gonna probably update the technology and it's gonna become like I have a feeling like they're not going to be as bright as like the ones that come along later or some kind of thing, or it's not going to last as long.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm really curious to see some reviews. Like the early buzz from looking at it in CES is a lot of journalists are really excited. They say they look absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So we'll see what they look like once you get them into an office and start working with them. But the biggest thing I'm concerned about is color accuracy.
Yeah.
I recently purchased the Blu-ray of Lawrence of Arabia. Not sure if any of you guys have seen that. But I
never have.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think probably, if not the best. It's between that and 2001: A Space Odyssey. And both of those films on Blu-ray are just absolutely mind-blowing. And for Lawrence of Arabia, they had a restoration process, and they did a scan for 8K on that film. And I'm like,
I read about that.
Wow. Yeah, it's incredible. And they zoomed in on it, and they showed how clear it is. And they said they pity the people watching this on Blu-ray. I was like, and it looks phenomenal. I was blown away. I was like, oh my word, I've never seen something so amazing.
I want to see the next Planet Earth shot in 4K.
Oh, I would buy a TV for Planet Earth 4K.
You just put it in. Well, that's when I first got something like a HDTV and my PlayStation 3 to play Blu-rays. Like that was like the first thing I got. I got Casino Royale on Blu-ray, and I got Planet Earth, and it was just so amazing.
Can I tell a really funny story about Planet Earth? It's just is actually really good. So my buddy Sean, he has Planet Earth, and he just bought it. You've heard this one, right, Dave? Have you heard this one?
Yeah.
So he's watching Planet Earth, and it's at the it's in the ocean in Wales, talking about mating and everything. It's like, ooh, you know, and Sean was like, I hear different noises above my room. Because he just moved out in this kind of seedy apartment, really low, just really, really cheap. And his ceiling was definitely shaking and hearing lots of noises. And right during the scene, so he takes his headphones and he slowly puts them over his ears, and he's just like listening to was it Richard Attenborough that does it? I forget who does the voice. The narration is like,
I believe
watch
so.
as the whales mate. And he like clicks pause and he like turns it off and just goes like this and starts crying. It was so funny. He's like, it was the worst night of my life.
Neighbors are mating.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so anyway, 4K. My plan, if I get one later this year, is to just work in 4K and game in 1080p until like the next generation of cards hits. Because even the R290 series and the GTX 700 series, they can do okay at 4K. Not 60 FPS and not ultra, but you can game at 4K.
Yeah.
Nothing. Keep going.
You okay,
right.
Joel?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we'll move on. Joel,
We've lost him.
are you back with us? Are you here?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
good?
here. Sorry, Jason sent me a link and it showed our podcast on iTunes and said Joel was on the podcast and it's all under explicit. Okay, sorry,
anyway.
I'm ruining everything tonight. My bad.
Joel, you've had a big past like 24, 48 hours or so. Why don't you catch everyone up to what's going on?
So I launched my Kickstarter like a little over 48 hours ago, and
The Kickstarter for your film Norman. If you don't know
my
about
film
Norman, go watch last
Yeah.
week's podcast and we tell you all about it. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I just launched it.
Joel, you got to whore yourself out correctly here. Come on.
That's what you guys are here for. I'm not the marketing guy. I'm just the like behind the camera and do it.
You're just the creative genius. Gosh, troll.
Or the creative moron. No, we launched the Kickstarter, and in under 48 hours, we had raised over 7,000. So it was
You
No,
were
right?
100% funded.
yeah, 100%
It was like
funded.
under
Sorry,
30
sorry.
hours.
Yeah, I think it was like
30
33 hours or something like that. It was ridiculous. It was so fast, and it's continually going. So now I have 28 days left to keep raising money.
Just
so
to roll in that money.
that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
And,
Buy all
so
those yachts.
To any of you guys who help support it, thank you. Thank you guys so much.
You guys are incredible. I appreciate it. One of the number one listeners on the podcast, I forget the name now. He just saw it jump up on Kickstarter. I didn't send it out anywhere, and he already donated. I was blown away. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, we all appreciate it so much. It's kind of crazy that you listen to a couple guys on the internet talk about video games every week and you would actually give money towards something they were doing. But the proof is in the pudding. The trailer is awesome. I've heard nothing but extremely positive compliments. Although one person who's related to me did say, I'm not really sure what the movie's about from watching the trailer. I was like, that's all right.
That's good. That's how trailers should be.
I'm hopefully it'll be out tonight. But I just made a video that's going to be kind of thanking everyone.
You work fast, Joel.
Yeah, it's all done.
Joel is
all
fueled
done,
by
guys.
pure cash. he just consumes it and just editing just pours out of his soul.
No,
So anyway, moving on. Oh, okay, not moving on. Go for it. Keep going.
I'm
got it,
done.
big boy.
I'm done. No, it's
all you,
boring.
Joel.
Film's boring. No, I'm
No, it's not.
gonna
It's
post
not
a video
boring.
saying thank you and stuff, and a special video from Norman saying thank you. But a couple new clips from the film, and it's currently standing at $7,624. So
Cool. You can find it on Kickstarter. It was like number 2. Or did he hit number 1?
Yeah, I
Yesterday?
think it hit number 2. Hit number 2.
Number 2 in narrative film on Kickstarter, which means like out of all the movies,
out of
people were trying to get
30,000.
Kickstarted yesterday. Yeah, Joel was number 2. So that's how good. Anyway.
Ultra Grunt says Joel McDuck.
Come on, guys, we can make it to 1 million. We're almost there.
Dude, what would you do if you had $1 million? Like, do you even know how you would spend the money to make? Because you had to spend it on the movie. So how would you? You said every dime's going towards the movie.
Every time. Okay, and a part of my movie would be showing up at your house and just plopping down a new house and destroying your trailer. And be like, here you go, a new house, but I get to destroy your trailer like with my own hands. And then you come work with me on my film to finish it.
Yes.
See, it's related. Totally
please,
related.
Guys, please contribute. I want this to happen. Okay. So moving on from
like
that.
a wrecking ball.
Oh, no. Dave, no.
No, realistically, it'd be like PS4s everywhere. PS4s for everyone.
The movie sets are built out of PS4s. Complete reshoot with sets of PS4s.
I'm going to go ahead and just do the host thing and steer this in a different direction.
Choo-choo.
Intergalactical Snake has asked, hey, I'm thinking of giving it an EVGA GTX 770 classified ACX 4GB version. Tell me what you think of my build. Due to the fact I've never owned a PC in my life, please tell me what you think if it is not a bother. It is most certainly not a bother. We love helping people out with stuff like this. I have brought his build up, and I will read it out to all of you. The cooler. Well, I'm not going to read it in order because that'd be boring. I'll start processor, 3770K. BitPhoenix Shadow case, Gigabyte Z77 motherboard, 2TB Seagate Barracuda, Windows 7 Home Premium. Keyboard, various parts to build it with, which doesn't really matter. At least as far as you guys are concerned. Let's see, looks like 8 gigs of G-Skill RAM, and he's asked what we think about it. One thing, there's a couple things I see missing from this build. There's no power supply, which will be important. So if you need recommendations on power supplies, let us know. And then also, there's no SSD. And for the amount of money you're looking to spend on this thing, you should absolutely get an SSD.
It's also a distinct lack of Windows 8. The future of Windows operating systems.
All right. Well, now here's a good segue into Jeremiah's Windows 8 story. There are things I like about Windows 8. There are other things I absolutely hate.
Like most things.
No, they're starting to do the Mac thing where they say, you can't do this because reasons. A friend, my brother's girlfriend, so I have to help her, brought me her laptop. She'd just gotten it, and she says it changed her login password.
That happens.
Or she forgot it. She's not sure, but she said she used the same one she uses for everything else. Security. And it wasn't working. And she called the manufacturer, I think it was HP, and they were not helpful, unsurprisingly. And it was not a Windows Live account that she was logged in with. It was a local account. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'll do a password reset. I've got one of those fancy Geek Squad discs you can get online for free that you can boot off of and just wipe a password. I was not worried. Well, her computer doesn't have a disk drive. Not a big deal. A lot of new computers don't. So I was like, okay, well, I just need to boot off of a USB drive or boot into Windows Recovery. Well, Windows 8 cannot use those little wiper disks. You actually have to do it in the Windows 8 command prompts. And you can't get to the startup recovery command prompt with administrator access unless you boot off of a disk. Well, obviously there wasn't a disk to boot off of because there wasn't a disk drive. So you could make a USB drive, but to download an ISO for Windows 8 from Microsoft, they make you have your serial key. And there was no serial key written on the outside of this computer. I guess it's on some of the packaging she got with it or something, but normally computers have the sticker on them. No sticker. So, but like Microsoft always used to let you download the Windows 7 ISOs and Vista and everything else. You could download those for free because the key is what's important. The ISO isn't. The ISO is free. That's something special.
You can't do anything with it after 30 days. So
exactly. Well, but now you have no choice. You have to have a serial key. So I couldn't download one of those. Like, well, you can make a Windows recovery. You can make a recovery stick, like a USB stick that's a recovery stick, but you have to do it from another Windows 8 computer. So fortunately, I had a Windows 8 laptop. I was able to make the recovery stick. And then the password reset process, because I didn't have a disk to boot into and didn't know the password. It'd be a lot easier to reset it if I knew the password, go figure. I had to boot into a command prompt and then copy the command prompt exe using command line prompts. Like there's no file browser at this point. I had to copy the exe over top of the ease of access program. Ease of access is for people who have hard times reading or seeing. It can like read the words on the screen to you and stuff. And that's accessible from the login screen. So I had to copy the exe over it. So when I booted the computer up like normal, you click the ease of access button and it pops up a command prompt. And it doesn't know it's not supposed to do that. And then I had to use a net user wipe to overwrite the password and then undo everything. So it was like an hour and a half process just to reset a password, just because they wouldn't let you they just wouldn't trust you. It was all like, let's hold your hand and not let you get into any trouble. And it's so frustrating. Man. Anyway, that's my rant. Never mind. You see now, Intergalactical Snake, you do have a Cooler Master Silent Pro power supply. Cooler Master's okay, but look at something from like Intermax or Seasonic or Corsair or PC Thermal Take. Cooler Master's okay, but they're not really the top of the heap. And for what you're spending, you should get top of the heap. And you should also get like a 240 gig SSD.
I'm actually gonna step in right here and disagree and stand up for Thermal Take. They're
Thermal Take's
amazing.
Awesome. I didn't disagree. I said get a Thermal Take.
I should have brought my coffee with me.
Thermal Take or one of those others. Yeah, Thermal Take's great for power supplies.
A quick Thermal Take power supply story. My 850 watt has now powered 4 different builds over the last 6 years. My 850 watt, including the build that caught on fire, and it's still going.
That's the same thing with my Corsair 650 watt. I haven't had anything catch on fire, but yeah, that thing is still going strong. I'm all about high quality power supplies. My power supply is now by far the oldest thing in my computer. Oh yeah, so the only other thing I see wrong with your build, not wrong, but that you could change, is the EVGA GTX 770 classified ACX 4GB. I have the exact same card, but the 2GB version. Unless you're going to game in 4K, you do not need the 4GB version. The 774 gig versions are total wastes, especially for $540. I don't know. Oh, this is Australia. Never mind. I just saw the thing at the top of the screen.
It's really just not needed, though, because what happens is that the memory is great, but the card does not have the bandwidth to fill the memory. Right. And you're just not going to see the usage unless,
if it was
like
a Titan, like the Titan has 6 gigs of memory, and that's a little more reasonable.
Yeah.
But the 770 isn't that fast of a card that it needs 4 gigabytes. I mean, I had a 7950, which is actually about as fast as a 770 once you overclock it, and it had 3 gigabytes, and it never filled up the memory.
Yeah,
So definitely swap that out for just a 2 gigabyte version of the ACX. I'm very happy with my ACX. The performance isn't incredible. It's just pretty normal 770 performance.
Have you guys tried the 780
so far?
The 789 TSX? Sorry, I don't know anything what you guys are talking
for a second.
Sorry, I don't know any of you you're talking about, guys. So I was just like,
okay,
I got nothing. You guys are so knowledgeable.
Thanks for chipping in.
Thanks, console player.
I got emotions and controllers.
I like this, Joel. Goldar's Golden Pot in the comments says you should spend your spare Norman $1 million on more ice cream sandwiches. Oh, so many.
That would be great.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about something else that was seen at CES. Valve had a big press conference where they talked about Steam machines. They have 14 people making Steam machines, which is cool. So we're just going to run through them and then we're going to talk about them. It's okay if none of you guys have done any research on this, because we're just going to talk about it. You have?
Mm-hmm.
I actually
have. I read about it. I can't give you specs or nothing, but I read about a bunch of them.
Okay. Alienware. Alienware's, they're not telling you anything about it other than it looks like kind of like an Xbox One with an Alienware logo on it. They won't tell you the price. Anything else, I'm guessing it's going to be overpriced because it's Alienware.
Probably, but it is one of the best looking, I think.
It is, because some of them did fall into the trap, the first PC trap.
Which is weird to have Alienware be like the more subtle and toned down version. Like, that's unusual.
Alternate has built one that looks like a home theater subwoofer. And it has an Intel i5 4570, a GTX 760, 16 gigs of RAM, up to a terabyte of storage. It's $1,400. That's not that great. CyberPower PC. Theirs is $500 and up, but their first configuration is $500. They haven't given us a crazy name yet. Oh well. It has a 3.9 gigahertz A6 CPU from AMD, a 2 gigabyte R9 270, 8 gigs of RAM, and 500 gigs of internal storage. If you don't want AMD internals, you can get a 3.5 gigahertz Core i3 and GTX 760. Now they don't give you the prices for some of the upgrades and stuff, but an R9 270 is the cheapest option for the $500 rig, and an R9 270 is a good card. That is significantly faster than the cards that are in the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, or the equivalent. So for $500, that's a pretty good deal. That's going to be a good gaming computer for $500.
Yeah.
The Digital Storm Bolt 2. This one has a 4770K, a 780 Ti graphics, 16 gigs of RAM, hard drive and SSD, and it's like $2,500. So, yeah. Gigabyte has the Brix Pro, which looks like a really ugly GameCube. It has a 4770 CPU and integrated Intel graphics. So, yeah. iBuyPower has a $500 rig with an R9 270 and CPUs from AMD and Intel. They don't tell you how much. 8 gigs of RAM, 500 gigs of storage. That's pretty standard. Yeah. And that's a pretty good looking case, too. It looks kind of like a really sexy next-gen Wii. The Falcon Northwest Tiki is $1,800 to $6,000. And it's got the normal Titans and everything like you would expect. Material.net has made one that looks just like the alternate case, and from this angle it kind of looks like a mini fridge. A lot of normal stuff. Next, which I've never heard of before, they have a Steam machine, also GT760, yada yada yada. Origin has one. You can get up to 2 Titans in Origins, which is kind of cool. 32 gigs of RAM, 14 terabytes of storage if you want it. So Origins is going to be pretty high end if you want it. Scan. All right, Scans is pretty cool. It's kind of laptop specs. It's a GTX 7065M GPU and a Core i3 CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, 500 gigs of hard drive. It seems like that'd probably be better for streaming games, but it's $1,100, which is a little bit high. And then Web Holland, who I've never heard of either. For $1,500, you get a Core i7, a GTX 780, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 1 terabyte solid-state hybrid drive. And then Zotac has a $600 one that they won't tell you anything about other than it has NVIDIA GTX GPU and an Intel CPU and some storage and RAM, and it is absolutely tiny, and it's $600. So I have some concerns, but I'll let Joel go first with whatever you think. I was just going to say real quick
that it sounds like a lot of these manufacturers have really beta hardware they're showing off. Like they're not final anything at this point.
Yeah, to show them off at CES, it seems like most of them weren't ready to actually show them, but Valve wanted to show them all off, or they just wanted to hop on the gravy train.
I think that's probably it, yeah. I doubt Valve would be like, you have to bring yours right now. Everyone was probably like, well, I want in on this publicity.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys on that.
Here's my big concern. I didn't hear anything that made it sound like they're doing anything to make people understand what these are and why they're different. I think it's like the way they've introduced them so far, it seems like it's just going to be enthusiasts who could already build or buy their own computer just have another option that comes preloaded with Steam. The Steam OS. That's all these really seem like. And we know the Steam OS, the Steam machines, they are PCs. We know that. But my hope was that manufacturers would come out with like the Alienware Steam Machine 1, or like the SM1, the SM2, and the SM3 or something. Like a real simple, you could walk into Best Buy and see a kiosk set up with a Steam controller and a couple really simple configurations like a 500, 1000, 1500 configuration. Something really easy that people who are thinking about buying a next-gen console would actually look at and go, I can't find a PlayStation 4 in stock or something. I'm not sure if I want to get it. All right, I'll go ahead and, this looks like a good alternate.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I had talked with James. We were looking through them, and we were both kind of pissed off because I was really excited about a Steam machine in the sense of, we play all our PC games, but I'm like, it would be fun to just have a small one down by the TV that, is just small form factor and it's decent power. And in one of the original articles that I think Gabe was talking about is they were going to come out with 3 models, or they had 3 different price tags for
like
Steam
tiers
boxes. Tiers. And I really thought it was going to be, whether or not it was by them or by someone, but they were actually going to have, because he said they were talking about doing something like a Google I forget it was Google TV or whatever it's called, like a little $99 device that you just plug into the back of your TV.
For streaming.
It streams from your computer. Then you have the $500 one that's like the console level version. And then you have the Extreme Edition that'd be $1,200 or something. But now looking at this, I'm like, it's no different than what PCs are now. It's just pre-built PCs, no different except for the OS. But no one else.
And a lot of them have slimmer form factors.
Yeah,
they have slimmer form factors too. But now the reason I think why you're not seeing that streaming only box is Valve said that streaming only box would be awesome, but they're looking for native SteamOS support for games. That's their priority right now. So it sounds like the streaming boxes could come later. I mean, they said they want to have them, so maybe they'll be coming later, but for right now, that is not their primary goal.
Yeah. And one thing that frustrates me is, and the reason why I do go with console sometimes, is they have a lot of years behind it. They're trying to make it very quiet. It's supposed to work function in a specific manner. But now, so what I wanted to get a Steam machine. It was like, oh, they're going to make a specific thing that's like a little bit more easier to just upgrade, or it's supposed to be at a set kind of graphics level. So you're going to be having some really good graphics and it's going to work right off the bat. But now I just feel like it's just going to be one of those kind of hacked together computers that probably are going to be pretty loud as you put near your TV. Like, I don't really trust that they're going to make a really quiet, no LEDs bursting your eyeballs right in front of the TV everywhere, And that's what I like about consoles. They try to keep it. It's supposed to just blend in. It's supposed to blend in. But with PCs,
it's an
it's all
appliance.
about... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
I think they're going to hurt... I think they're going to hurt...
I don't know.
I just don't think you're going to find many people going, oh, what's the difference between a PS4 and that? I'm like, oh, I don't see any difference. This one looks even bigger than a PS4. I don't want that.
Right, the difference would be if you're going to... But, like, see, most people who aren't into gaming aren't going to be buying desktops in this day and age. Like, a laptop makes sense for most people.
Yeah.
The only reason to really have a desktop is if you need, if you need the extra horsepower that a desktop can let you have, because you can only get a laptop up to a certain amount of heat and speed and everything for it just can't handle it in the form factor. So that's why people get desktops. So for this to really be better than a desktop, quote unquote, for people who don't know much about it, it would have to, like, I just don't see the magic thing that's going to make sense to people that would make them want it. Because reading this, I don't really want any of these that bad. Like, they're just a computer in a smaller case. And some of the cases aren't really that much smaller.
Yeah, and a lot of them are quite ugly.
A lot of them are quite ugly. Granted, this is under ugly CES lights, and these are prototypes, and
I think Gigabyte was the only one I think that looked fairly interesting, except it was still kind of big.
The Bricks Pro? No, that one that's tiny. Theirs looks like a GameCube. The iBuyPower looks cool.
I guess the image I
iBuyPower
looked
PC looks cool.
And then what was it? I think did you see Razors?
I did not see Razer.
I
don't see that. I have that in my list.
It might not have actually been a Steam box. It might have been just another small form factor.
Okay.
But they had a really interesting way of putting the PC together. It had no outer case. It was almost like it's almost like a little like shell you'd like plug it into, almost like a drive bay, but each one kind of slipped in.
The Razer Christine concept, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that was really cool, and I'm waiting for them to finally kick PCs up a notch and try to come up with a new form factor than the same old.
Yeah. Well, you say same old, but the same old has changed quite a bit. I mean, you can build a PC into all kinds of different shapes and boxes and configurations now. So I wouldn't say
a giant
same
rectangle.
old. No, you can get lots of thin.
That's
and
just
flat,
my
really
PCs, Joel.
things. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options, but yeah, I don't know. I still don't get what. I don't see anything about these that makes me think that they're special and different. So I guess I'm curious to see what they do, or there's also always the chance that they'll just say, hey, you guys do whatever you want. If the machines fail, who cares? I did like someone asked Gabe Newell if they were hoping to like compete with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 in market reach, like number of units. And he just laughed. He was like, they've got to compete with us. He said, they've got to catch up to us. We have 65 million registered users. You know, but you know, he's been a little bit
Gabe
flippant.
Newell swag.
Because a lot of those can't play new generation stuff. There's a lot of people just rocking Counter-Strike from 2004 on old computers.
The laptop install base on Steam is like just so ridiculously huge still.
Yeah, but that's just, I mean, but he is right. They have 65 million registered Steam users, and they'll run like 6-7 million people concurrently.
Yeah,
which I bet most consoles can't compete with. So, you know, they've got a big install base. I mean, the PC is huge. I just don't see that this is going to be a positive next step for them. Although I think SteamOS definitely could be. I think SteamOS could be a step in the right direction. But we'll see.
Shall see indeed.
And our last topic for tonight is Titanfall. Are you guys up to date with the latest Titanfall drama?
I am. Yes.
Okay. I'm saying drama kind of sarcastically. It's not really drama.
It's the internet as usual, basically.
Yeah, they announced in the last day or so that Titanfall is going to be 6v6. So 12 players total. And people started losing their minds at like how lame that was going to be. Even though pretty much every journalist preview I've ever read of Titanfall says, oh my goodness, this game is so ridiculously fun. Disregarding that, people on the internet who haven't played it are getting all bent out of shape about how terrible it's going to be because it's only 6v6. So my thoughts on that are, if you want a different gameplay experience, you have to be okay with developers trying different stuff. Like, just because Battlefield has 64 players doesn't make it good automatically. Think about when you play Battlefield, you're not fighting all 64 people at the same time. Like, they're not all fighting each other. That's called Operation...
Unless you're me, in which case you're carrying the team and you are fighting 64 people.
Yes.
Including your own team, because they suck.
That's called Operation Metro. That's what happens when you pack 64 people. And like, would you really say that's a lot of fun? No, it's terrible.
No, Metro is awful.
And you've seen the problems when you have 64 people in full destruction in Battlefield. They can't get the game to work because there's too much going on.
Yeah.
So if they can deliver awesome gameplay that's 6v6, most of the time when you're playing Battlefield, it's never more than like 3v3 or 4v4 unless you hit the big choke points, you know?
Joel, you probably know this question right here. GoldenEye, how many players was that back in the day?
I believe that was 74 players. Sorry, 4.
Yeah, it's like 4v4, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was an amazing game because it was like an intimate, like competitive experience where it was like someone takes you out and you want to go for them, you want to hunt them down. And
exactly. Like, there's no reason to have that many players. I mean, people complain that all FPSs are the same these days and like it's just one big homogenous thing. Ever since Modern Warfare ruined the shooter market, which to a bit I agree with. Modern Warfare didn't ruin anything, but Modern Warfare was so good and so different that everyone jumped on the bandwagon. I mean, that's why...
Now all different in the same way.
Exactly. Like, Battlefield 2 was nothing like Call of Duty. It was its own different animal, and because of the success of Modern Warfare, I think as a result of that, that's why Battlefield 3 started the series transition away from large-scale teamwork to Call of Duty on huge maps with big explosions. Like, Battlefield has a lot of awesome moments, but the role of the team has definitely decreased since Battlefield 2.
Yeah.
So... You know, everyone wanted to be like Call of Duty because Call of Duty was awesome, and now everyone hates it. So let them try something different. I mean, 6v6, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, they're also trying to make the game really competitive, you know? I mean, if you've ever played Counter-Strike or competitive games, it's always very small. Because you're not having 1,000 people run around, that 3 extra people in the back just goofing off or something like that, which is fine because they're allowed to do whatever they want. But that's how games go when you have a zillion people. But you keep it small, it's tight-knit. I'm excited about that because when I played Halo 4 all the time, I always played SWAT, and it was always like, I think 5 versus 5. Like, that was it. That was awesome.
Right, and that's, you know, with one of the other bad things about having a lot of players is you could be really awesome, and I don't know how many people have had this Battlefield experience. You can be doing an awesome job, and your team could still lose by 300 tickets. Like, you and your squad could be the top of the leaderboards, 50% ahead of everyone else, and your team could still lose because the other 30 people are being idiots, you know?
And it happens way too often.
It happens all the time. Now, a 6v6, if you have like 2 or 3 friends with you and you guys are awesome, you can do it. Like, you could actually really affect the outcome of the game. I'm excited for that. I plan on getting Titanfall. If it's anywhere close to as good as all the previews have been, then I am probably going to get that game like day one. As it's looking right now,
looks amazing.
I don't know how much. Please get it on PC, Joel. So we can.
Well, if you're gonna get it, I'll play it with you. Yes, I'll get it on whatever you're gonna.
Okay, all right.
I'll get it on PC.
Unless you get a PS4, then I'll get it on PS4. Or sorry, Xbox. Never mind. It's not an Xbox.
I'm not going to get but yeah, like it should be really awesome. I fully plan on playing it, but I would say just people just give it a chance and remember you haven't played it.
So it must be terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Just because it has features you don't really like, give it a chance because you don't know how it's going to play at all, and it could be really awesome. And give these guys credit for trying to do something different. Because as it is now, I don't think Battlefield 5 has much of a future at this point, the way things are going. And from the sounds of it, Call of Duty Ghosts 2 probably doesn't either, or whatever they're doing next, like Black Ops 3.
At this rate, Battlefield 5 is just going to be Battlefield 4's like 19th patch 3 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, that's, the first-person shooter franchise is in trouble. I think it's obvious EA cannot go bigger and badder on Battlefield 5. Like, that's not going to work.
Not in 2 years.
I think they're probably going to go to Bad Company next. They're probably like, please go back to something people love.
Well, Battlefront's coming out next.
Yeah, but they've got multiple studios.
Yeah.
Battlefront's not coming out this fall.
That's
it
true.
might come out next fall.
What I would like EA and DICE to do, honestly, is to shelve the core Battlefield title series, like the numbered series. Get Battlefield 4 in the next 6 months, patch down, lock down, give away free stuff, get it done right, go back to Bad Company for a while, and spend that time that was spent on Battlefield 3 to get the next one right and actually improved.
I mean, what was the time difference between Battlefield 2 and Battlefield 3? It was like 7 years.
Almost 7 years, yes.
Yeah,
but
so
it wasn't 7 years.
Massive.
Though. I mean, it's more like 2 years between the last game they just made. Because it's not like they're creating brand new engines for, like they spent 7 years making Battlefield 3. It's not at all.
No. I know. What I'm saying is like the difference in time between when they came out was so big that like the entire shooter landscape had changed. Like the technology was so much better. Like the graphics, everything was such a huge quantum leap.
I'm just saying that's not going to fix their game no matter what. Like I'm saying,
no, it's not. But I'm saying I'd be okay with them shelving Battlefield until it's time for another quantum leap like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Until the technology is there, so that you don't have to break your engine to try to make the game better.
Make
they could
what
shelve
we have now good, and then wait for the quantum leap. Basically,
exactly. Wait until everyone can play 4K at 120 frames per second, and then go nuts.
Yeah.
And, with 500 person battles or something. Wait till the technology's there for that. And just don't push it now. Go to Battlefront. Do Bad Company. Take a year or two off. I mean, they're going to do to Battlefield
weeks.
what Activision's doing to Call of Duty at the rate they're going. Call of Duty is it's still selling a lot, but it's very quickly losing public support. Which, as long as they're still selling, they probably don't care, but it's no longer revered like it used to be. I mean, I was a Modern Warfare fanboy, and I'm not even embarrassed. Modern Warfare was awesome, and then it just started the steady decline. And Ghosts was laughable if you've played Ghosts.
Dude, I loved Ghosts. I played the single player, and I enjoyed it a lot. I liked it better than Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, I liked it better than Modern Warfare 3, but that's not saying much. I mean, I still played it, and I was done, and I was like, I don't remember anything about that. But Modern Warfare, I still remember like 6 or 7 unique parts of Modern Warfare's campaign as being so good.
Don't forget, you were a lot younger too. that is a big. Yeah, still like, it's crazy how times change. Like I remember playing some games even just when I was like 16 or 17. I'm like, oh, I feel so awesome. Like, yeah, because I had like a bazillion extra hours to play the game, and that was the only game I had. So I'm like, that game was a lot better. But I thought Ghost was pretty good. I enjoyed it. The storyline was pretty interesting. The tank level was terrible, but
Oh my gosh, that one was so bad.
I was like, wait, am I playing on a PS2
Dave, if you
right
haven't
now?
seen it, go watch the video on my channel if you haven't seen the tank.
No,
level.
I haven't seen that.
Dude,
I went to your channel to watch
it's-
Call of Duty.
It's like playing on the PS2 out of nowhere. It's like it's
Trust me,
really
it's
it's
so
really
bad.
bad compared to like
It's
the rest
bad.
of the game too.
I'm going
It's
right
like
now.
some of the indoor
Not right
scene,
now.
the indoor battles on like when you're going down the hot sky, the giant sky rise, and that was pretty awesome. I like those levels.
Well, like all of Call of Duty games, there's some really cool set pieces that make you go, "Oh wow, that's interesting."
Yeah.
But the actual gameplay wasn't that. I feel like
it's
the Call
not
of Duty
new.
guys ought
It's
to
just the
direct-
same old good.
Exactly. They ought to just direct an action movie. Just get it out of their system. Direct an action movie. It'll be a really fun action movie. I will watch it, and stop trying to make the game like that because it doesn't do a good job. But anyway, back to Titanfall. Just give it a chance.
What
All the
would-
previews
what would
look really awesome.
What would you do to fix Call of Duty?
What I do to fix Call of Duty?
What would make you actually come back for it? And don't just say graphics, because
No,
Battlefield
I'm not
4
going
has
to.
insane
The
graphics, but the
graphics-
game is still not fun for me.
No. The graphics don't need changing in Call of Duty. I mean, you could make them better, but that's not what's wrong with the game. I would take 2 years off, go back to the drawing board, and try to. I wouldn't try to force innovation. I would let it happen. Like when Modern Warfare came out, it was so much different. Like it was so different. Just the idea of a progression system and stuff like that. It changed first-person shooters. I think they need to shelve it until they feel confident that they can really change first-person shooters. Because now the kill streak system, the perks, it's all gotten so confusing. I can't even keep up with how the multiplayer progression system works now. It's dumb. So I would shelve it until they were ready to actually change it. Because if they stopped making them now, they still have enough mind share that people would be excited when it came back.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that. They're going to keep making them while they're making money. As long as they can make $1 billion every fall, they're going to make $1 billion every fall. They're going to do the same thing like they did with Tony Hawk. When's the last time a Tony Hawk game came out? Tony Hawk used to be good. Pro Skater 2, Pro Skater 3, awesome games. Then they started pumping them out every single year, and then it went away. That's Activision. Same thing with Guitar Hero. Same thing with Rock Band. That's what Activision does.
It's just because I love the Assassin's Creed game, and there's a new one every year, and the only one that I didn't like was Assassin's Creed 3. But yet I still finished it. And I'm
hit
amazed
some
at them. I don't know
stumbling
how.
blocks, though.
Yeah, but I don't know how they pull it out every freaking year. It's always like they have a good game. Minus
Well,
3.
Well, I would say 1 was a tech demo, really. 2
Yeah.
was awesome. The 2 after that I haven't played, but from what I hear, it really seems like they're kind of Call of Duty-ish. They're more of the same. They're good. They innovate a
Yeah,
little
they're
bit.
great stories. It'd be really hard to swallow if you played them right after another. But if you have to wait a whole
Right.
year to keep playing another game, it was fine.
Exactly. It's Call of Duty. It's more of the same. Then 3, they tried to do something really different with the setting, and then they just kind of messed up some of the other stuff that made Assassin's Creed good. And then for 4, they decided to do pirates, and it worked out great. So, I'd be interested to see what they do next year. Like, they're probably going to string pirates out for another 2 years, I'd guess. But yeah, they did an awesome job. They did an awesome job with Far Cry 3 because Far Cry 2 had a lot of issues. Ubisoft is actually doing some really interesting things. Speaking of which, not only did they delay Watch Dogs, which you guys know about, of course, it was supposed to come out a while ago, but it didn't. The Division is being delayed till 2015.
That made me cry
said-
a little bit, just because I want to. Just because I
I'm
want to
fine
play
with
it.
We have so much to play. Let them wait. Like
I
want them to
know,
wait
I
until
know,
that
but
game is
still,
amazing.
I want it because there's no
because it
Fallout
looks
4
like it
this
could be
year.
amazing.
Plus, it's
probably
the
won't be
team at
Half-Life.
Ubisoft. It's the team at Ubisoft Massive working on it, and they always make good stuff, and they always take their time to do it right. So I am really pumped about the delay. Actually, like that just tells me that these guys are still exactly as they used to be back in 2008 with World in Conflict. They haven't lost that passion and that insistence on perfection. It's gonna be good.
I mean,
Yeah,
just
it is
just
gonna
look
be
at
awesome.
Rockstar. When Rockstar said they needed to delay Grand Theft Auto by 6 months, people were okay with it, and when it came out, it was totally worth it. So, if they needed to delay it. It's fine. Everyone
Yeah,
will
no,
get
I
over
was
it.
more sad because I'm really excited to see more of it. So I'm excited this E3 to
Yeah, I
hopefully see
understand
more
that.
gameplay. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. But anyway, that is everything we had to talk about tonight. Unless you guys have something else you want to throw in before we wind this thing down.
I want to play some games.
Yeah, we ought to do that this evening. And you guys should stay tuned, listeners. We are planning something for DayZ that you can be a part of, and details will be coming soon.
And it does not involve handcuffs and disinfectant, we promise.
Let's just, maybe we should just say, who wants to come to a Sunday morning service led by Father Joel? Yeah.
I will
That's not
say
it. That's not it.
we would not be the first one. Someone's already done our church servers in standalone.
Really? Hey.
It wasn't as well planned as ours, but yeah, someone's done one.
Yeah, well,
And a
obviously this is
baptism
well planned.
too,
We didn't
actually.
hear about it.
Oh yeah. There was a baptism too, but it was really lame because they got the new spawn, they handcuffed him, dragged him over to a pond.
That's not a baptism, that's waterboarding.
Yeah,
There's a
well,
difference.
it got worse too. Like they force baptized him, and I was like, well, what's the point of that? And they shot him down in the middle of the pond. I'm like, that's not a baptism. You just murdered him in a lake.
Yeah, that's not. You're doing baptism wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, to be a part of the show, write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com, tweet at casualshenaniga, at evilviking, at JERMgaming, and everything like that. We will be talking. I wanted to talk about it this week, but I forgot about it. I need to send out some emails. We'll be talking about our personal games of the year for 2013 stuff coming up very soon. But until then, we will see you all later.
Don't forget the great
anyone-
train of righteousness.
How do you do that, Joel? That's so disturbing. It's like a
'Cause
light
I'm an
switch. You just
alien.
turn it off. And on. Yeah, you have the demon in you. You have the demon.
See y'all later, everyone.
All right, guys. We will see you later.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Stay casual.